Hey guys, welcome back to the Batar Project. I am your host, Nick Batar. Today we are joined by Travis Cochran, or people will know him as the technician, rewiring the brains of others. Trav, thank you for jumping on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother. I'm really excited about it.
Dude, I'm keen all day, I've been pumped.
Yeah, it's different. I think when you understand how good a good conversation can affect you in a positive way and the intentions you go into the conversation with, it just hits different. Hey.
Sure does, bro. And I like to start my podcast with gratefuls, man. What are you grateful for today?
Oh, there's a lot to be grateful for. I'm very grateful for the life I've created. Uh, Recently, I had a moment. I do a lot of meditation and breath work and stuff like that. So I had a meditation the other day down at the beach, and it was like the sun was just coming up. And obviously, I'm grateful that I live like right next to the beach, obviously on the Sunshine Coast. And went down there, and it was like sunrise, a little bit cloudy. And dude, I swear to God, the clouds like opened up at the perfect time, and I'm just like halfway through this. And I was thinking about the life I created, like what I'm doing right now. I'm up at the time that I want to be up, and I was just like, man, how cool is this? I've created this life, so I'm grateful for the life, bro. Like I want everyone to feel this. I want everyone to understand that they can do the shit that they want to do. They just have to put in some work.
That's it, bro. And with on talking about creating the life, let's go back. Like, who were you before? What was your upbringing life like? And we'll go through your journey into where you are now.
Sweet. So I grew up in a little country town called Woodford. So I've, very, very normal upbringing with my parents have always been together, lovely parents, like, no real childhood trauma to talk about us, I guess, but a couple of brothers, little sister, I'm the eldest, and yeah, just little country town kids. The difference being is I was about this size when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I was like 6 foot by the time I was like 10. So
It's like a man
it,
child.
yeah, dude, I was. And when I started playing footy at the age of 5, so obviously they could tell I was going to be this freak kid, and football just took over, man, from a very young age. And I think when I talk about it now, it brings back a few memories of what started to shape me as a human being, my identity and stuff like that. Obviously, for me, it was football, Trav, the football player. So by the time I was, say, 8 or 9 years old, and I've told this a few times on a few podcasts, and I bring it up because I think it really shaped me in a few aspects. So I was playing a game, and obviously I was a lot bigger than all the other kids, and I threw this one kid into the ground like pretty hard, and all his teeth and stuff pretty much got knocked out. Like he was bleeding like crazy, and all the parents and stuff on the sideline were like, "Yeah, he's too fucking big. Get him off the field. He shouldn't be playing with our kids." Rah, rah, rah. And I mean, they're screaming this at me, not like dad and mum and stuff or the refs. They're like at me. So I think I remember back, and I'm like, man, maybe I am too big. Maybe I'm not supposed to show my true strength and be who I'm supposed to be. It's kind of like that made me go into my shell a little bit and sort of take a step back and be like, okay, maybe because I am such a big kid, I can't actually be who I want to be. I can't show my true strength, my true power. And I think I really went into my shell, dude. And I think that's when the introverted Trav really started. It's like it activated something in me. So after that, I kind of went on a path of, yeah, just being that real shy kid at school. But the weird thing is, I'd be captain in my football teams, I'd be school leader or whatever, team leader, and still always have that leader essence. But I never truly embodied it because I was scared of who I could truly be, I guess, in a way. So coming into school in that small country town, I started to grow a little bit, started to get some confidence, and started to play footy at rep level and stuff like that, and started to get noticed. And I got picked up by a big school up here on the Sunshine Coast called Mountain Creek, and they were starting a school of excellence team. So it was like picking all the best players and bringing them into one team. And the coach at the time was Rob Bruff, our local Channel 7 newsreader. So, there was all this big thing, like McDonald's came on as sponsors. Like it was hectic. But the big essence of that was that as a country town kid, I come from a school of 300 people to like 2,500 kids. So, I get in there and I'm like, I'm dealing with shit where if you don't wear the right shoes, you get picked on, or you have a weird haircut, you're going to get picked on. So all these new aspects, it's like you go from the big fish in the small pond to this giant pond to being just a very average sized fish. And I mean, physically, I was a big kid. Like I was obviously by this time, 14 years old, I was already like 6'2", 6'3". But my my personality, that really shy kid was still there. So that brought up a lot of anxieties, dude, because I think I got picked up by the Broncos in the development squad around about 15 years old. Dude, going to training freaked me out because I just felt so fucking awkward being around new people, and that 2 weeks leading up, if I knew I was going to the Broncos training in Brizzy, if I knew 2 weeks before, that whole 2 weeks, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh no, I don't deserve to be there. I don't want to have to meet these guys. What do I have to talk to them? I'm not cool enough. All this internal dialogue would start happening and I'd create this really stressful environment for myself, which when you think about it, it's fucked up because that's my own mind, my subconscious getting me to that point, right? And yeah, and this kept going on for years. School sort of faded away because it was always like, Trav's going to be the football player, he's going to be the Broncos player, whatever. Going through some relationship stuff, friendship stuff, home stuff, all these, things start building up. But I never truly felt like a football player. I was the kid that was in art class and shit. I was one of the footy boys that, like, I don't know, do you play footy at all, bro? Or you've been
Yeah,
around
bro.
that sort of
So I
environment?
grew up playing footy. I actually play like semi-professional level down here. So
Rugby league?
yeah, I can relate to a lot of the stuff you're talking about.
So it's like, and it's this environment where the boys take the piss out of each other, you pick on each other, and I just could never do it. I don't know. It was weird. Like I find it funny. Like there's a certain degree where, yeah, taking the piss, but then there's also stepping the line where you're just hurting people. You're actually setting them up for failure because you're going to ingrain into the subconscious a certain thing, whether they've got, they're fat or they're just, you're calling them dumb all the time. They actually embody a lot of that stuff. So I think over time in my environment, I did embody a few things, and I think that still affected me up until just kind of recently when I started to get over that stuff. But I think all these things, built up into this little concoction. When it came time to finish school, again, I just passed through school, didn't really care because I was like, oh, I'm going to be a football player. Who cares? And I get out of school and I'm finally like, here you go, Trav. Here's the Broncos contract, mate. We want you to come down to Brisbane full time, be in the squad. Obviously it wasn't like a guaranteed you're going to be, top 30 or whatever, but it's like you are a Broncos player. And I remember the night Dad brought in the contract. And he's like, mate, we did it. He spent so many years driving me everywhere, spending all this money, like drove me to and from our house up to the Sunshine Coast to be with his families and stuff, to live there. And I just go, nah. I just broke down crying. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. So obviously you could imagine he was pretty disappointed. As a kid, anyone could imagine that a father puts in so much effort for their son to get to his, I guess, what he thought was my dream. But I don't think it was ever my dream. I don't think I ever loved footy. I think it was just I was good at it, so I did it. And I didn't want to let anyone down. I wasn't too concerned about myself. So when I finally made that decision that was for myself, fuck, it was hard, but it felt so good. To say no to something that I truly wasn't in, it was just really relieving. I just felt like this weight of the world just wash away. But that's when all the issues started. It was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not a football player. What the fuck am I? Like, what is my identity? So I go into working at my local IGA back in my little country town. And then I start comparing myself. Everyone else is at university. Everyone else is going through trade. Some of the boys are already qualified plumbers and electricians and stuff, So I'm sitting there thinking like, well, what am I doing with my life? I'm just working at IGA. So again, I get into this hole and I meet this lovely young woman at the time when I was about 19, 20, went through a couple of years. Bro, Gracie changed me. She got me out of my comfort zone. And if I can say to anyone, the biggest thing to get out of those spaces is you really need to step out of it. You need to step into the uncomfortable stuff. I moved away from home, got away from that environment where, as much as I love my parents, they can be very anxious, worried humans, which, as you would know, man, if you've ever been around people that are very negative, not negative, but just concerned about all the shit that can go wrong rather than what can go right, it just makes you think that exact same way. You always think that everything can go wrong. It's not, hey man, go do this because this fucking awesome thing could happen. It's like, nah, don't do that because this could go wrong. So I had to get out of that space and get up there. And yeah, man, as soon as I moved out of home and tried new things and spent some time with Gracie and just enjoyed life a bit to my own degree and what I truly want to do, I could see some, little things sort of turning. And then it, I don't know. It kind of just got a little bit dark, man. Like I was trying a few jobs that I just didn't like. I don't know if you've ever been in that space where you're trying jobs that you just fucking hate, but you're just doing them because you think you need to, whether it's for money or people judging you, like, oh, Trav, what do you do for work now? Like, oh, I'm in real estate or car sales, just to think that, that means I'm making good money. It's like, no, that doesn't mean shit. Because I never truly enjoyed most of those jobs that I did, which led to me obviously getting back in that dark space. As much as Gracie was trying to help me through all that, I think we've been together for a few years then, and kept trying to go back to footy thinking, oh yeah, maybe I'll go have another chance. Every time I try to go back to football, I destroyed my wrist. I've had major concussions, fractured my skull, done my knee, like all this shit. It's almost like the universe was trying to tell me, nah, dude, you're not a football player. Stop trying this shit. Like, get away from this. So it was like years of in and out of that, trying different jobs, in and out of depression. So one day, man, I think it all came crashing down where I was in a job that pushed me to the limit. It really tested me because I've gotten to that point, which a lot of people, I'm sure there's going to be people listening that they know this feeling of you wake up in the morning and you just look at the ceiling, you just fucking cry. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to go to this job you genuinely hate, and you'll make up any excuse not to go. But I still went through like 3-4 weeks of like training and stuff to get to where I wanted to be. And one day I just had this horrible day, and I was driving home in my car, and it still brings up feelings when I think about it. But I was driving home in the car, and I just thought, this can't be life, man. Like this isn't it. And I went to take my car off the road and just aim for a tree. And I literally took it off. And at the last second, something clicked, brought it back, sort of just something hit me. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like a guardian angel or some shit, but, and I just broke down crying. I was like, man, what am I doing? Got home to Gracie, told her what happened. And that's when I sort of started to realize, okay, I need to make some changes. Moved back down to Sydney, got back into Rebel Sport, which I really enjoyed, getting into sales and helping people, being of service. Some other stuff happened. I tried to get back into footy again and a few injuries happened again. And then Gracie and I sort of went our separate ways. And during that, I had a major injury, messed up my knee, just absolutely destroyed it, tore my ACL, meniscus, fractured my patella in one go. So that all happened in 2 weeks. I swear it was like within a week or 2 weeks, I was living on the beach, working a job I loved with my missus, thinking everything was sweet. All of a sudden, it just gets stripped away again. It's like I'm back down in this hole again. But I know, looking back, these things are happening for me, right? It's like building me up to get to the person I am now. But I ended up back in Woodford, back in my country town again. I'm like 26, 27 years old or something. And I'm in bed, and mum's emptying my piss bottle because I can't move. I just had major knee surgery. So it was like this massive polarity of like, yeah, life's sick. Oh, jokes. No, it's not. Like, it just back into this big despair of just like depression. And I guess that was the catalyst, man. I was back in that hole, and I had so much time. I had like 4 months in bed, and I thought, fuck it. I can either sit in this and just wallow in my self-pity, or I can make a massive change. And that's where I started listening to our boy Ice, Gary V, Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory. I started to discover personal development, like a podcast, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. Every day driving to this new job, another Rebel opened up. It's like things just started happening again. I start working on my body. I get fitter. I get healthier. And then I meet now, to shorten it down a little bit, met the woman of my dreams. Tams, met her randomly. Well, not randomly. Met her out one night at trivia night, and she'd just been traveling through from Canada. Sure enough, it all worked out, and we met up, and now we've been together for 3 years. We've been through some shit ourselves, and last year was really tough with COVID because she got locked out of the country. But that was when I met Jordan Potts. I don't know if you've seen Pottsy at all on my Instagram.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I follow him.
Dude, I met him, right? It was about mid last year. I was in a really dark place again because of all this stuff. And I said to Tams, I was like, check this dude's Instagram out. I was showing her from like across the other side of the world. And I was like, check this guy out. 4 days later, I meet him at the Kiwanis farmers market's just around the corner here. And he teaches me all about Wim Hof, breath work, all this holistic style. And I was like, what is this shit? This is cool. And started getting into that, started learning a few things, was trying to start a business with my mate in personal training. Didn't really work out in the end, unfortunately. But while we were on the beach one day, my mate Christian goes to me, he's like, bro, I love the way you try to rewire my mind. You're like a technician. And that's where the name sort of started. A few months later, I was like, I like that name. I'm going to run with that. I'm going to start a podcast. We both were going to do it. He unfortunately didn't want to do it. So I kept running with it. See that picture on the wall there, guys? Well, whoever can see it. That thing sat on my kitchen wall for like 6 months before I started this podcast that I start now, the Technician Podcast. So it just sat there looking at me in my soul. I was like, I'll start you one day. And as you would know, bro, that first episode was terrifying, but I got it done. And I guess now the rest is history. Has led me into meeting all these other amazing people like Toddy Jarrett, Rip, all my mentors I've got now, like JP, Cal, Kraus, Jake Stone, Darren Manser, like all these incredible people that you meet through the podcast that have helped me grow into coaching, starting events with within like holistic healing, helping people, the feminine and the masculine. So yeah, dude, I guess that's my story in a nutshell to this point on this day, I suppose. It's been a journey.
Fucking hell, it sure has, man. Roller coaster, that's for sure.
I think when I think about it, and I'm sure you've heard, some of the best or the most successful people in the world have been through some of the hardest times.
Exactly.
Like I think it's almost like it's not like people have to go through shit to be successful, but I find that the ones that have been through it, they just know how to push a little bit harder. And they know, I think the biggest reminder for me was when I don't know if you saw me write that letter to myself, my 17-year-old self that made the decision not to take the Broncos contract.
No, I haven't seen that.
Basically, we were at Dr. Espin's event. Anyone shout out Dr. Espin? Go see him if you can. We went to this 3-day event, myself, Rip, and Toddy. And basically there was an activity that we had to like write a letter to ourselves in the past that was holding on to shame or guilt, I think it was. Because you can hold on to that shit physically and emotionally, it'll actually make you feel like you can come up with physical attributes that'll show that you are hanging on to something from the past. So I wrote a letter to myself, to my 17-year-old self, and I said, thank you. I was like, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you saying no, because without you saying no and having me go through all the shit I went through, I wouldn't be the person I am today that is able to help people in the way I am. I wouldn't be able to be such a big empath and, resonate with people's pain and their stories and just be so present and actually care, because I went through all that shit. So I understand it. So I'm just, again, you asked that question before, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for me, man. I have so much self-love. People are taught not to have self-love. People are taught not to be selfish. But if you don't love yourself, how are you supposed to love anyone else?
Spot on, bro. And listening to your story, with life, different experiences, people come in and out of your life. For example, your previous partner got you out of your comfort zone, denying that footy contract, but then going and trying to play footy again, then getting those injuries, put you on the path that you are on now. And it's, for me, that's why I love having these conversations and sharing and showing people, jump out of your comfort zone, say yes to opportunities, because yes, they may not, succeed or happen the way you think they're going to happen, but they'll put you on the path that you need to go on to become the person that you need to be in the long run.
100%, dude. I'm sure you've had times in your life where it may not have felt right, or you just weren't too sure about things, but you just kept trying, you kept doing, you kept putting in the reps, putting in the work to break through that uncomfortable feeling. Like we spoke before the podcast about, some of the episodes you were doing earlier on, it was a struggle for you, right? And now you're just killing it. You feel comfortable if this is something that you just do. So you'd have to think that this can work for any aspect in life, right? If someone's struggling with anxiety, the more you lean into that and you fix that, you get out of your comfort zone. If anxiety is around being around heaps of people or being in social situations, go and do that more. Lean into it. Just it's the only thing that I can really say in a basic foundational situation is lean into the uncomfortable shit. What do they say? Eat the frog in the morning. If you got to do the hardest thing first up. And, some days I don't want to get out of bed still. Some days I'm like, this shit's hard because it is, having an entrepreneurial journey and doing everything for yourself. It's hard, man. I said to Jackson yesterday on our podcast, I said, is there any ever days where you just think this could be so much easier if I just worked at like some, he literally said he has days where he just thinks it'd be way easier just to go work at Macca's, just go get a normal job, have a wage coming in, you go to work, you do your job, you come home, there's nothing on your mind. You can just, well, there's probably still stuff on people's minds, even if they're working at a 9 to 5 or whatever it might be. And there's no judgment on that. But just understanding that, yeah, this shit's tough and life is supposed to be tough, I believe. It's because eventually we get tougher. We actually strengthen our nervous system to get used to those hard moments better and better, because I've had some pretty hectic stuff happen recently and the old me would have crumbled. But the new me, my new nervous system and the way I'm able to handle it with the tools that I've got, with the better sleep, the good food, understanding the gut microbiome and gut health and mental health, or meditation, ice baths, all this shit, I can use this if I need to bring me back and ground me. Even, dude, grounding, getting out in the sun. Like there's so many basic things you can do that we're told not to do that can help you through so many different situations. So yeah, dude, I probably went off on too much of a tangent on that, but I believe there's so much in that. There is so much in the discomfort, and I feel like we need to lean into it more.
Definitely, man. And as you said before, like when I first started my podcast, the first few episodes were shit, but it's just that repetition and just continue doing it. Because the one thing I've learned about fear and anxiety this year is it's something you need to head towards. Like for my whole life, I thought, it's telling me to stay in my comfort zone, stay in bed. And I got really bad at stages where I would be actually like sick, like spewing up in that. And I thought, wow, like this is telling me to, stay comfortable. But no, once I've gone out of my comfort zone and I've used that fear and anxiety as energy, bro, I've come out the other side and I've grown so much and grown, I guess, another layer and resilience. And, you know, bro, it's fucking good, bro. And that's why I love telling people and showing people that anything is possible once you leave that comfort zone.
100%. Because I think everyone wants to believe that you don't have to do the hard things.
Mm.
I'd love to say that, yeah, you don't have to go and do that workout or go to that job or whatever it might be. But if there's not an end goal in sight, that can be quite tough. If you don't have some sort of direction, Espen said it really well. It's like you might be trying to get to Hawaii and you're in your boat. And if you're not checking in on yourself, checking your GPS, how the fuck do you even know if you're going towards Hawaii? If you've got an end goal in sight and you're not checking in on yourself and have your goals and have your strategies and having your structure, and you're not checking in to see how you're doing, say every 12 weeks or something, maybe it's almost like a stock take, do a human, I'll do a Trav stock take. It's like, okay, how am I feeling? How's my relationship? How's my career? How's my money? How's everything? And let's see how we can fix this or help this in a way. Because as much as I believe life can be really easy, it does need to be tough first, I believe, to build up that strength, that inner strength, and the ability to handle the tough situations that come, for then it to be easier down the track. I was just talking to a good mate before. He's one of the most successful guys I know. I love him. He's only turning 40 next year or this year. Actually, I think he just turned 40 or 40 next year. Yeah, 40 next year. He's pretty much going to be able to retire because for the last 20 years, he's worked his ass off to build this business that is now at a point where it can just work by itself. He's just hired a CEO, like marketing managers, like he's just hired another 7 people just to fill his role that he was doing. So he's been working to the point of, he worked himself into depression and stuff, but he did that knowing that there's going to be an end goal at the end of it. It's not going to be his whole life. It's not going to be, because you don't want everyone just working their face off and they're just unhappy about things, but he just knew he had to go through that to get to where he wanted to be. So if you have a goal, just know, it'll get tough sometimes, but imagine how good it's going to be at the other side. It's like any workout you do, right? You're going to go in for those big, heavy sets and you're like, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore. But that's your body screaming at you saying, yeah, baby, let's do it. We're growing. Let's do it. It's all good. And then, you get 8 weeks down the track of a training program. You're looking good. You're feeling good. the same aspect can be done within your career, your relationship, whatever it might be. We just have to put the work in. I think that's the biggest aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Hard work. And when it does come to hard work, like make sure you're climbing, I guess, the right ladder. Like you can climb the ladder, look over and be like, oh shit, I've climbed the wrong one. So like make sure
Spot on.
you are on the path that you want to be on. And yes, work hard, definitely.
Yeah. And also work smart.
Mm,
I think there's a big difference between mindset and mindful. Mindfulness is around that when you need to take a break, take a break. If you need a couple of days to relax and chill out and take it easy, cool, do that. Because we're called human beings for a reason. We're allowed to be sometimes.
yeah.
You don't have to always be doing shit. I posted a video today where it was around a lot of men are in their masculine. So there's male and female. So that's the gender, but masculine and feminine is the energy. So masculine is like always doing, trying to get shit done, trying to make money, always about career, all that sort of stuff. So you're constantly pushing, pushing, pushing. The feminine is just the being, the feeling, the emotion. A lot of men really struggle with their feminine side, allowing themselves to feel an emotion and cry and let that shit out. Because my client before actually said something incredible. She said, let me get it out, because when she said this, I was like, man, that makes so much sense. And this might hit a few people that hear this. So the body keeps the score. So if your body takes on so much trauma and emotional defeat and hard times, and you don't ever take the time to feel that shit and let it out, so cry or talk about it, what do you think happens? Your
Just
body
builds up.
breaks down. Yeah, man, your body, the stress and your nervous system, everything just shuts down. If you're not getting good sleep, if you're not drinking good water or even enough water, like how much water do you reckon you drink a day?
I try and drink 2 liters a day.
Yeah, solid. Like if you can get at least 2, 3 liters in, but then some people don't even know that like good quality water makes a difference too. As human beings, we are pretty much essentially water. So a lot of people will say to me like, oh, why does it feel so good to go out into the surf or into the water? It's like, man, because that's like our home. That shit washes away all the troubles and the depression or whatever it might be. Oh, I'm not saying I'm not saying you can go for a swim and you wash away depression, but it washes away some of the shit that you're dealing with and it just calms you for a bit. That's why if you get down to the beach, you feel so calm. Your feet are in the sand, you're grounded, all that energy sort of coming through. And it just, I don't know, man, there's so many basic aspects that we can do to heal and feel better. We're just not being told. And I'm sure there's probably a reason for that, because then we get put in a sick system.
Yeah. Yes, they
It's
want
not.
us to spend money, get sick instead of doing the things that are free to us.
You tell people breath work's free, and they're like, "What do you mean? I know how to breathe." Do you?
I
Do you
thought
really know
that.
how to breathe?
I thought that, and then
Yeah.
I went to a breath work session. I was like, "Holy fuck! I've never like breathed like this before in my life."
Right. Have you had any of the DMT release experiences?
Where you get like lightheaded and like hallucinate a bit, or
You might see like in visions
yeah,
and that sort of thing,
yeah, that's
dude.
crazy.
And I mean, there might be people listening thinking, "What the fuck are these dudes talking about?" But guys, for real, I would have said to you 6 months ago, what I would have said the same thing, like, "Nah, bro, I'm not coming down to hold your hand and breathe. What are you talking about?" But now I had my experience and I released so much anger and stuff that was built up. I didn't even know about it. My body was keeping the score. It held on to so much things I didn't realize in here at my heart. So when I think it was about 10, 15 minutes into that proper breath work with the Cool to Be Conscious boys, shout out to Real and Rye. And dude, something came up, like it just hit, I could feel it. I could hear everyone else around me, like a few people like screaming, crying, like a bit of stuff coming up, which is good. And it hit me, just this yell, dude, this massive yell that came up and hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'll never forget how good I felt after it. Like it was just like all this weight just left my chest. So if I could give anyone a piece of advice and something to lean into in the future, have a look into doing some sort of, even if it's light breath work, even just start with Wim Hof stuff, like 10-minute YouTube video you can do in the morning or at night. I had a mate message me the other day. He's like, "Travi, thanks so much for getting me onto that Wim Hof dude." And this bloke would never do this stuff, bro, but he lent into it. had a crack, and he's never stopped now. He's been doing it for the last 2 weeks straight because he loves it, just how it makes him feel. So lean into that, and even just good sleep. Like that shit's free, right?
Yeah.
But no one knows how to sleep properly.
No, people underestimate it, eh?
Big time, man. Do you know about mouth taping?
Yeah, I do it.
Yeah, sick. And you feel way better?
Yeah, bro. Because I used to have like mad congested nose and shit like that, and I'd breathe through my mouth, and then I started the mouth taping, and bro, I can breathe through my nose again. It's freaking a miracle.
Oh man. And imagine if you had to go to a doctor that would have been like, oh, we can probably do a surgery on that to try open up your airways. It'll cost about two and a half, $3,000.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Have you connected with Lino Holler from Men's Medicine? I think they're on the Gold Coast there.
I haven't, but I feel like it's about to happen because we've just brought on, I think I can announce it. Yeah, Jay Godfrey. I don't know if you've seen Jay at all on social media.
No, I haven't.
I think he was part of the men's medicine and the amend movement, which Leno's part of.
Yep.
And yeah, Jay's going to help us with one of our events, the Ripple Effect event, which is cool. So come on as a leader and hold space for the men and the women that day. Cause he's this big, like moldy dude, like just tatted up from the head down to the toes, but the most lovely dude you'll ever meet, just radiates love. And that's what
Yeah.
we wanted, man. We want people that are going to be there. Like myself, I'm 6'5", 125 kilos. A lot of people might see me and think, fuck, oh, this guy's a big dude. But like I hold that space of just love for everyone, and just like I want people to feel safe. And those tech talks I've been doing, man, they'll sit there and just feel embraced. So I'm sure Leno's got that same energy. I can see it on his videos and stuff. Have you had him on your podcast at all?
No, I've been to his events when he came down to Sydney, man. And whew, he's one of the nicest guys you ever meet. And he's helped me so
Mm,
much because I went to one of his relationship seminar things.
nice.
It helped my relationship so much, honestly, because before, like, we're kind of separated, but now, like, we're together as one. We're on the same kind of page, and like the
Mm,
breath work and all that kind of stuff. Dude, that guy is a saint.
he is, and I'd love to connect with him because he's up, yeah, the Gold Coast, so he's not too far away from where I'm at. So
Right.
that's a great person to get on here at some point.
Yes. Dude, it looks like all the fucking awesome people are up in Queensland. I need to get up there.
Come up, man. There's plenty of space.
Bro, I've been wanting to, like, my dream place to live is like somewhere it has the beach and then also the mountains.
Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, I've heard it. I'm like, fuck, I need to get there.
Seriously, if you moved into, there's an area called Landsborough or Biwa starting to blow up a bit, Malula. Yeah, there's so many spaces where you can literally be 30 minutes from Sunshine Coast, so that kind of in the hinterland. But yeah, either way, you can end up in the mountains, or go the other way and you're on the beach, or go 50 minutes south and you're in Brisbane in the city. So it's like everything is central. It's amazing.
Fuck, give me a few years, I'll be up there.
You will, bro. You'll make it happen.
Because I live in the Blue Mountains and I love it, but I also love the beach. So I want the best of both worlds.
And you can have it, man. There's a mate of mine that you should try get on here. No, don't try. You will get him on here. Dan Cross.
Okay.
He is one of the most successful dudes I know, and he has a program called You Can Have Both. So you just reminded me of that. But his episode on mine was just mind blowing. Just the business aspects and mindset stuff. It's just, and I think this is the biggest thing about podcasts, dude. I'm sure you've had episodes with guests where you're like, man, how do people not know about you? Like
Mm.
I've had some people that only have like 400 followers or something because social media presence doesn't mean shit. When I actually speak to these people and in their presence, I'm like, man, you are like a god. We need to get you out there. And it's so, like you hear them speak and you feel the change they've given to you. And then you get so excited to be able to help other people, right? Like it's such a cool experience.
Yeah, there's so many people out there that can give so much value, yet yeah, they're not heard of yet. So by us hopefully getting them on our podcast and give them more exposure, then they can help and provide more value for a lot more people.
How do you feel like down in your area? What's it like with like this holistic sort of stuff? Do you see this movement that's happening up here with us is down there as well?
Nowhere near it, bro. That's why I'm jealous.
Maybe you can start it.
Ugh, might have to. Like, I think it's not so much holistic. Up here is more so like running, cycling, all that kind of stuff. Not into
Mm,
the holistic kind of side of it, but which I still love. I love running. I love being out in nature. But yeah, I wish there was more holistic stuff here.
I think even with what we're doing with the ripple effect, obviously physically or energetically, that's what we want to happen. It's like it's not us. Like we just started, and then it becomes so much more. So eventually, yeah, it ends up down in the Blue Mountains, and all of a sudden there's like facilitators for this breath work, the ice baths, the spiritual guidance, the energy guidance, all this sort of stuff. And you just create this massive conscious community, which with everything that's going on, I feel like that's pretty important right now too.
Definitely, definitely, we need more of it because especially during COVID, a lot of people are all over the place mentally, and they're not too sure what to do. And bro, I seen it as a massive opportunity to really focus on myself mentally and physically. And bro, I've grabbed it by the balls and made the most of this opportunity. And so many other people have as well, but so many others have just been, I guess, trapped inside and just not knowing what to do. And by us talking about it and doing like holistic stuff, ice baths, breath work and stuff, bro, it can really help people through these times because mental health shot through the roof, suicide rates are shot through the roof, but that all can be prevented.
Mm,
All we have to do is educate people.
yeah, and have everyone actually embody it, because the reason I say that is you can have someone jump into any space, right? I'm sure when the first personal trainers started, it was like, yeah, personal training, sick. Let's all get into this. Like, it's a great space to make money, have your own business, whatever. But there was fucking some horrible personal trainers, like that just were hurting clients and stuff. And I'm not saying that's what I'm seeing happening, but it's something that we need to be aware of too. That when people jump into this space to try and heal, or not try, just to be those healers and help, we want to make sure that the right people are coming into it as well. And I've been saying that, I think that just happens naturally. I think it's a space where the people that get into it are the ones that know they can do it. They'll be found out really quickly if they can't do it. There's no space for it to be, I guess, like it regulates itself in a way. So I'm sure at some point, dude, this will just get massive. I think the Cool to Be Conscious boys really made it like mainstream. Obviously there's been people in this space for a long time and doing some incredible work, but I think they've now really, like Wim Hof, obviously he's made it mainstream. Joe Rogan's really gotten it out there. So there's some big names really opening people up to it, which is awesome. But I think there's still a lot of space for people like myself and you to help people educate them on this and just really make that ripple effect even bigger and bigger. So, dude, it's awesome what you're doing. I think if you looked at the next couple of years, what would it be that you really want to achieve? What would be the ultimate goal for you? Do you feel like you're on your purpose at the moment?
I am, but I feel like I'm on the path. I just got to break through a few barriers to kind of solely be on that path. Like, well, I'll probably talk to you after this, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's a few
yeah,
things in my life that I am, I guess, a bit stuck on at the moment and not
yeah.
kind of sure what direction to go. But I know I'm going to get there. It's just how to get there.
I feel you. And I mean, that's the thing, guys. Anyone listening, I don't have it all worked out either. I might, yes, I'm on my purpose, and it fucking feels incredible. Like you'll have this moment of clarity. I was driving home one day, probably about, I think 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. No, yeah, maybe like 4 months ago. And I just had this moment where it just hit me, dude. It was so this is crazy, right? It felt like that moment when I was in the car and wanting to end it all. I literally was very close to where that started, though, so many years ago. I was in the car, same car too. I'd sold my new car and gone back to that same car I had like many years ago. And I was just in my car, just had a couple of meetings. I just met up with Toddy, who's one of my best mates and mentors now. And something just hit me, dude. It was like, yes, this is it. This is my life. Like, I get to do the shit I want to do. And it just hits you like a wave, man. And you feel it. And I got on my phone and I just felt like I had to share. I just turned my phone on, recorded myself. I started crying during it because it was just overwhelming. And even just sharing that, had an effect on a few people. A few other people stepped into their own thing. A few of them quit their jobs, got into what they really wanted to do. And to see that effect, I think I feel like that'll be your purpose too, dude. I can tell most people that start a podcast, they want change. They want to help make a change. So it'll probably evolve from that. I know mine's evolved. It started with a podcast, right? And now I'm doing tech talks. It's almost like I guess, life coach, even though I don't really want to use that word for myself. I see myself more as a guide, because there's no right or wrong in my eyes. I believe everyone has their own experiences and their own choices and opinions, which is fine. I don't see anything as wrong or right. I just see that I come to people, I ask them questions, I listen, and I'm like, dude, I know what you need to do. And then we just work out a little plan for them moving forward. So, and this has all just come off the back of starting a podcast, right? Stepping into the unknown, as we've said, it's terrifying, scared the shit out of both of us. But because I did that, and now I've moved through all these other things, and I realize I'm capable of anything. I can do anything. So, and you get to this point now. So, yeah, for anyone listening, I think what really helped me was I sat down one day and I wrote down on a piece of paper, what's my perfect day? If money didn't exist, if there was no responsibilities, what is my perfect day? And I sat there for like an hour and I just wrote down all these things I love doing. Like I love gaming, I love basketball, I love helping people. And then I reverse engineered it into, okay, what can I do? How can I create this lifestyle, but through a business or a job that I have? And that's where all these things that I'm doing now have come from. So it was like that. I don't know if that'll work for everyone, but it worked for me. So that'd be a hot little tip for anyone listening.
No, that's good because once you write it down and then once you actually start, as you said, it opens your mind to so many different avenues that you can go down and can try. It's it is good, bro. And let me ask, what do you think is maybe the biggest thing that holds people back from taking that leap of faith and pursuing their passions?
Good question, because I know the answer straight away. It's fear of judgment.
Yeah.
100%. It's most times from what I hear and what people I talk to, I'm worried what mum and dad will think. I'm worried what my friends will think. I'm worried what that random dude walking across the street will think. There's literally people that won't do shit because they're worried about pure strangers. Like someone doing a video, like getting their phone and like doing a Instagram live or something. They're terrified of what people are going to say. And I think that comes from conditioned beliefs through school. You get bullied for doing certain things, so you take that into your adult life. And some people like, dude, the biggest fear in the world is public speaking. Death is the second.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I think I heard it on your podcast.
Dude, that is ridiculous. Like, how is that even a thing? But that comes from us as a society and as a culture, as human beings. It's like, especially in Australia, tall poppy. Like, I tried to tell my missus' parents and stuff about this when I was over in Canada. I was like, yeah, we've got this thing. Like, if you're doing really well, other people try to cut you down. And they're like, what do you mean? Yeah. Like it's, if you shine, you can't shine. People are going to fucking shoot you down. Like, look at our athletes, man. Like, Jonathan Thurston and all that. Like, if they do anything wrong or if they step out of line, whatever, it's like, you are the devil. It's like people don't make mistakes, or it's never like, how good's he doing? How good is he doing? Love him. Like shout him out. Dude, you look in America and they're shouting out all their athletes and stuff. Like, you got like LeBron obviously cops a lot of hate and stuff as well, but then he gets a lot of love too. Kobe was the fucking man. KD obviously cops a lot of hate because of what he did, but there's these big sports stars that get treated a little bit differently over there, because I find that in Australia in particular, this tall poppy syndrome is bad, man. Some people will literally go their whole lives not doing what they truly love because they're concerned of what people are going to think. And I don't know if has that ever crept in for you?
Yeah, a bit. And it's fucking kind of sad that you'll stay doing something you don't like just to, I guess, appeal to other people and make them kind of look at you in a good way instead of going out of your comfort zone, trying something totally new, like a podcast or whatever. And like maybe you'll get some judgment, but you're scared of that judgment. Like, fuck that. Like, big thing for me, bro, Gary Vee said it. There was a short video, and this lady comes up to his car and goes, give me like
I
three
know.
words or whatever. I think you know what I'm gonna say. And he goes, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so true. And like, because the work I do, I was doing a job today for someone and they got cancer and they were talking about their life and stuff. And you can, I guess, kind of see the regret in their eyes of, they wish they did more with their life. And I was like,
Mm,
I don't want to get to that age or get cancer or, there was that footy player in New Zealand that got hit by the car. He was a young fella and died. Like life can be taken at any moment. So don't take it for granted.
it's crazy that that advice gets thrown around a lot, but no one really hears it
Mm,
and no one really listens to it. It's man, even thinking like feel when you really feel something like that, I think a lot of people don't take the time to feel shit. They just think about shit. There's a big difference. This, the conscious mind, when it's thinking about things, you can't really embody it. But when you let it feel, like when you let your heart take that shit on, yeah, dude, I actually went through a stage where my mortality scared the shit out of me. Like I was like, man, I'm gonna die. What do you mean? I just stop existing? Like I'm sure there's plenty of people that get caught in that space, but when you understand that there's a lot bigger things going on than what being worried about that. So you need to be in that halfway space where it's like, hey, I could literally die falling down my steps, walking down to get a feed after this. Like,
mm,
but then you can also be, hey, what if I live for another 70 years? And that's what Gary's big on, right? Like he said, a lot of people get worried because they're like 52 or something and they're like, want to start a new career. And he's like, fucking start. You're still young. Get going. You got another 50 years. Like there's that too. I think there's a lot of like, oh no, like I'm nearly 30. I'm supposed to have kids and stuff. I'm like, nah, man, why? Who told you that? Who said that by the time you're 25, 30, 35, 40, whatever it is, you're supposed to have this, and this? Like who wrote those life rules? Like if you have your own values and your own beliefs, do that shit.
mm.
If there's anything that I could tell anyone, we all have a circle of control. We also have a big circle around us that has no control. So what one do you think we should focus on?
Yeah, exactly. Where you
You
can
know,
control.
like exactly. Why the fuck would you even worry about trying to control someone else's way they think of you or their beliefs or what old mate's doing over there? Or, it's just, it blows my mind that we have so much control over our own like mindset or our own choices. And yet we're focused on the shit we can't control. Even this stuff that's going on right now, dude, I barely give it time or energy. And how do you think my life's going?
Yeah.
I barely even notice. Like I just don't give it the time or energy. So, because what you focus on is what you'll get. I don't know if you've ever listened to Earl Nightingale before or Bob Proctor.
No.
Bro, game changers. It's all that manifestation and what you think is what you get, all that sort of stuff. And I mean, it's for real now. I understand energy. I understand it's science. It's science. It's not spiritual. It's not woo-woo. It's literally what you believe you can have, you will get if you focus on it enough and do the work. Because I was doing a course, Thinking to Results with Vivian Poole, and it was incredible. And she basically made us we had a little goal card in our wallet at all times. And my thing was, I want a big custom van that has like a podcast studio in it, a computer, like Tams and I can travel around Canada, and that's our life, right? Kid you not, 3 days into having that and manifesting that and wanting that, I meet a dude that does custom vans. Like it just, bro, yeah, this shit happens on the regular now. It's like anything that you want, you can have if you truly believe it. So imagine if you truly want the world to be in despair and everything to be going to shit, which I get it. It is. It's very hard to not see it that it's fucked up what's going on. But how about you focus on the stuff you can control and see how good your life is?
Exactly.
Like focus on those things we're talking about before, the good sleep, the good food, the good rest, spend time with your missus or your boyfriend, whatever it is, with your family. Enjoy those moments, enjoy where you live. If you can't, it's a bit hard, obviously, if you're stuck in lockdown or whatever, especially the poor buggers down in Victoria and stuff like that, and New South Wales and all the lockdowns you guys had to go through. Like I've been in Queensland in Sunshine Coast, I've been pretty lucky, but I mean, there's still many things that we can control and what we focus on, but we just allow ourselves to get into that space of I can't control this, I'm going to freak out, and I hate life. So, and I get it, man. It's so easy. I've been there before, but I just want people to understand that there is a lot that we can control, and let's just focus on that for once.
Exactly. Like you may not be able to control what happens, but you can control how you perceive it and how you react to it. So yes, you always
Exactly.
have control.
Yeah, you have control how to respond. I like responding to things because there's a big difference. If someone says some shit to you, right, and you're in like an argument, you can either react to that aggressively and match their energy, or you can take a breath, just be like, okay, dude, cool, and move on. Road rage, you can get caught up in that moment, or you can just sit there and be like, that was interesting, and go on with your life. Like you don't have to buy into that shit. You can still just continue on with your day.
I know it's like people think the other person's going to go quicker if you road rage at them. Like it's not going to change their driving style.
Nah, dude. And I think the coolest bit of advice I've had recently that I've really embodied is everyone's just doing what they can with what they know. Like that dude that just road rage may have just had his dad pass away, or he's been beaten his whole life, or she just found out that she lost her job. Like all these different aspects that if you, again, we come back into that circle of control, you get to control how you respond to that. And it all comes back to breath, bro. It's like if you take a deep breath, how good do you feel? You just
Fucking
take
good.
that really diaphragmatic from the stomach, from the belly, because as children, we always breathe through our belly, but we lose that as we get to adults. These really shallow chest breaths, which set us into the sympathetic state, which your sympathetic is your fight or flight. So it's for anyone listening, sympathetic state would be, say, a zebra or something that's getting chased in the Serengeti by a lion. It jumps into its sympathetic state, which is fight or flight, or your organs tighten up so you can run or fight. So they run away. And then after they've escaped that predator, they do a little shake off. So they take that breath, they shake it off, and they're like, back to your parasympathetic state, which is that real rest and relaxation. We don't know how to do that anymore. It's like people get caught in this driving to work. Okay. So you're already pissed off. You're sitting in traffic. Then there's a road rage. Then you're at work, probably at a job you don't like. There's probably someone there that's a bitch to you or something, always talking shit to you, bullying you, whatever it might be. You're in a constant state of sympathetic system. So your body's constantly in a state of anxiety, fight or flight, just feeling like shit. So your body actually eventually starts to get sick because it's always inflamed and in that stressful state. So eventually, like, you can literally get severe sicknesses from that. And I mean, I'm no doctor or anything or professional, so I can't be saying this will happen. But from my experience and from what I've seen, these are the learnings that I've taken on, dude. Ever since I changed the way I eat, the water I drink, the sleep I get, all these things to help decrease the stress in my body, all the other shit that comes into my life, like these stressful moments, like the recent rules and stuff that have come in, it's like, sweet, it's cool. I'm good. I got my foundations. I'll be fine. So that's one thing I'd love people to take from this too.
And it's just like when someone says, "Oh, I've had a bad day." Have you had a bad day, or have you had a bad moment that you hung on to and then attracted more bad moments into your day?
Yeah. I love that. That's spot on because it's so true, man. You get like we've said again, coming back to that control, that response, the reaction. Like, how do you respond to life? And I've actually always loved how do you start your day with, when Ice says, those first 5 seconds of the day, that's how you judge your success. Are
Yeah.
you happy to wake up? Are you like smiling, like, fuck yeah, let's go, keen for another day? Or is it that, like I said in the beginning of the story, oh, no, man, I don't want to wake up. This is shit, life shit. So, if you can get to a place where you're happy to wake up, you're smiling, you bounce out of bed, you got music on, you're vibing, usually in a pretty good direction then.
Are you in that place right now?
Yeah, bro, 100%. I wake up, I've got my juggling balls over there on the printer. I usually try to do 10, 15 minutes of that, do a little bit of Wim Hof here and there. And I mean, look, I'm no like spiritual guru or anything. I miss days. I can't be bothered some days. I just forget or run out of time or whatever. But foundationally, like 80% of my life is based around making sure I keep those things going because one of the best episodes I've ever done was with Darren Manser. This is another guy that, like I said, he's got maybe 400 people following him on Instagram, but he's had a super successful kinesiology and naturopathy business here in the Sunshine Coast for 11 years. He's had people coming from America, from New Zealand to see him. He's incredible. And he talks about, doing everything with love, just being in this space of love everyone. love everyone and everything, and you can't lose. And ever since I've embodied that, man, you literally just, you feel good all the time because you're operating in a different system. It's like, if anyone looks into the Hawkins scale of consciousness, basically, if you're sitting up around joy or love, you're vibrating at a really high frequency. So to put that into context, we're energetic beings. Like from Dr. Espen, this is science. This isn't like spiritual woo-woo. We are literally 99.9% space from my experience. You can believe whatever you like. There's no right or wrong. I'm just a guide. But ever since I took that on and took that belief on, dude, and I believe that, I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you're thinking of someone, you're like, man, I haven't talked to Jimmy in a while. I need to message him. You'll text him and he'll be like, oh, weird, dude. I was just thinking of you.
Yeah.
Like, because you're on the same frequency, you're sending out those vibes. It's like, so if you're constantly operating at a really high frequency, so I think on the Hawkins scale, love is like 700 or something. Dude, you can see those people walk into the room. You look at them, you're like, dude, what? I can't stop looking at him. What's going on? You can see like an aura. And then when you're in shame or grief or fear, which a lot of people are operating now because of this shit that's going on, it's around about 50. Death is 0. So if you're operating at a really low frequency, you're waking up most days really sad and depressed. Most times, anything that you hear or see, so if you hear some shit news or something, it's going to send you straight down again. So it's really hard to get out of that. But if you can start to embody some of these like little like foundational things like your food, meditation, breath work, whatever it might be, just to help something. Dude, even reading books. I don't know if you read much, but have you seen that they've helped you a bit?
Yeah, I've read every day. It's helped me so much.
Yeah. What book are you reading right now?
It's called The Resilience Shield.
Ooh, you know what? Have you read The Resilience Project?
Not yet. It's on my list though. Yeah, I got
That's a
it.
good
I
one.
just got to read it.
Sick. Um, oh man, I don't know what it is. It's like, well, I know what it is. You're learning from mentors. You get to create a circle again in that control. Dude, we've got audiobooks on YouTube for free.
Hmm.
Like, have you ever listened to Way the Superior Man?
It's funny you say this. When I listened to your podcast yesterday, you said it. I bought the audiobook and I've started listening to it.
No way.
Yeah.
See, I mean, that's that synchronicity stuff. This is what I talk about when I've noticed that as soon as myself and I've seen other people go on their journey with their purpose, whatever it might be, they step into it, you start to notice some weird shit. Like whether it's like numbers, you meet someone that you're like, how the hell did we meet? Like, I know how you met. It's all part of that. It's almost like everything just starts to align because it knows you're on your journey. So it starts to give you the tools and the shit that you need to keep moving forward, I guess.
Have you read the book The Alchemist?
I haven't, but I'm pretty sure I've got it sitting in my little library just here somewhere.
Yeah, because there's a quote, I'm probably going to butcher it, but it says, once you find, I guess, your purpose, the world conspires to help you get there.
Mm,
That's
I love
powerful.
that. I think I may have heard I say that before too, but it makes sense because that's what's happening.
And
Like,
you attract all these people, like-minded people into your inner circle, and you build like we're all in our own little ships, but we're raising the tide and we're all growing.
mm, spot on. It's like, I think your circle of influence is so important. And that's something I probably missed going through all this. It's like, man, imagine being an eagle and you're around a heap of ducks or something. Like, you just can never be that true eagle that you want to be. You can't soar and like be that predator and just this alpha thing. It's like the ducks are never going to let you do that.
No.
Like and it's not saying that, say you're in a group of people that are just really down and just always negative about stuff. And you've probably been mates since you were kids or something. Doesn't mean you just go and drop them. It just means maybe just find some other people that are on your journey where if you want to increase, I don't know, make some more money, or you've got a new career goal, you've got just some like-minded people, dude. We've got this thing here on the coast called the Mastermind on Tuesday nights. And Dion Munkovic, I think his last name is. Sorry, Dion, if I messed that up. Shout out to him because his initiative to start this collective where it's like, dude, you pay $10 You rock up. He started with like 5 or 6 people for the first month. I think recently he's upgraded to a bigger place. There's like maybe 120 or something to a couple of these recently. So, and these are like 100, 120 people that are like-minded, right? So imagine a room full of like high vibrational, successful, well, define success. I love what Dan said in Passion Project, but it's just always like being around people that, like, I'm sure in your path, dude, if you found a heap of podcasters in your area or people trying to do the same shit, you'd probably go to level 10 a lot quicker than if you're trying to do it by yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So I've seen it, man. I see it now with the ripple effect. I see myself, Todd, and Rip, we've got a group chat, and I've got heaps of other friends. Obviously, I've got best mates I've had since I was 14, 15, but I'm not saying I don't hang out with them anymore. I still want to see them and have a beer and just relax and just be me. But I also want to be around people that are wanting to strive to do these big things for humanity, to change people, to help, because it's our responsibility, dude. We get to, and it's a cool responsibility, but it can be pretty stressful sometimes. But I mean, because I've got that support network there, so much easier, man. So if you've got a group of people around you at the moment, guys, I think they've said it before, show me your closest friends, I'll show you your future.
Mm.
If you can get some really cool people in your circle, in your corner, you will just level up. Obviously you have to do the work yourself too. You can't just rely on other people, but that'd probably be the biggest piece of advice as well to start your journey. If you really want to get some cool people around you.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be like physical people. As we said, it could be books, podcasts, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's whatever you're filling your head with.
Big time. How often do you listen to like podcasts and YouTube and all that other stuff? I'm sure it's daily.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right. They can be your friends. They can be your mentors. Why not?
Yeah. And when it comes to, I guess, friend circle as well, I think I said this, the law of 33%. So you have people below you, which you can help and help them grow, people on your level. So like your mates you go beers, banter, all that kind of stuff with, and then people above you, which are going to help you grow and become a better person.
I love that. That's spot on, dude. And I think everyone should strive to be the dumbest person in the room most days. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. You should never be the smartest person in the room. You're in the wrong room if you are, because I'm sure, do you know a lot of people that have got that ego about them where they don't want to learn? They don't want to listen to someone because they're like, oh man, I already know.
Yeah.
Because they
I've
don't,
heard this
their
before.
egos are so fragile. Yeah. It's like, oh, I already knew that. It's like, shut up, dude. No, you don't. Like,
Yeah.
just take it on. Even if you do, just be humble and just take on any advice that you get, because everyone has a different viewpoint on certain things. So I may have already heard some things that this book reads about or writes about, but it might be written in a different way, and it could just hit me in a different way. So I strip all my ego back. And if I, like at the mastermind, dude, for example, I'm 31. I'm a 31-year-old, 6'5" man that, you know, should be classed as like a man. I should be going around like, I know everything. That's what society is taught to believe. In a lot of parts I've seen, it's like they have a lot of egos, these big guys, like, because they're usually the most fragile and insecure. But I go into this place, man, I've got like this 21-year-old female that's incredible. She's super smart, very business savvy, and I learn shit from her because I have no ego. A lot of men might think, oh no, I'm not going to listen to this chick. Like, I'm 10 years older than her. I know more, whatever. And they won't sit there and actually take on and see her. They'll just listen. They won't hear her. They won't actually take on that advice and speak with her and converse. It's like, I already know what you're talking about. There's always that ego involved with everything. So if we can strip our ego away, man, so many more people would benefit from that.
Yeah, it's just about having that growth mindset or that closed mindset. And you can learn something from everyone, because like if you stop learning, what are you doing? You're dying. So you should always be
Mm,
looking to learn and grow.
100%, dude. It's like, even if you don't always have to be doing as well. I believe that, even today, like I said to you before, I knew I had this on, then I forgot about a few things, and I was like, yes, I get to like maybe relax for a bit, because it's been full on for the last like 3-4 months straight. And then I realized, I was like, oh shit, I still got to do some other things. But at the same time, I didn't beat myself up. I just sort of like let it happen, let it be. And then I know that if I get all this stuff today and tomorrow done, Saturday, Sunday, I get to chill. I get to have a few beers. I get to maybe have some KFC or something. I still treat myself to some of the finer things in life. I don't know if you call Dirty Bird finer things in life, but I think it's just allowing myself to enjoy shit too. I'm not going to beat myself up because I went 200 calories over something. It's like, man, just enjoy life. We go back to that mortality thing we said before. Yeah, you could die any second. So if you're really going to be concerned about that extra beer you had with your missus at dinner, like, is that really worth worrying about?
No, no, it's just
Like,
about balance, bro. Like for me on weekends, mainly Sundays. Sundays are my day where I just chill and do whatever the fuck I want. I don't worry about podcast editing, all that kind of stuff. It's a me day, and it's like a reset, and then bro, it sets me up for the upcoming week.
what do you do for like your relaxation? What's your chill time?
Dude, I just watch YouTube videos like because I follow a lot of people, so bro, I just bank up all their videos and watch them all on Sunday.
I like that. That's kind of cool because I do the same thing but never watch it because I find myself I'll see the first like couple of minutes. I'm like, oh, this is sick. I better watch this later. 2 months go by. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to watch that because it's like, again, probably something I need to walk the walk with. It's like, if I'm going to be saying I know all these things, I have these tips, tools, resources, which I might, but there's a certain point where you can only learn so much, right? Before you're just constantly learning too. So I
Mm.
found I got into that space where I'm always trying to find new books, always trying to find new YouTube without realizing what knowledge I already have and not actually implementing it. We talked about it on the Passion Project podcast a couple of weeks ago. Dude, these guys are like 21 and 19. Incredible. Dan and Jaron, shout out
They
to
have
those
that
boys.
sick podcast studio, eh?
Yeah, mad setup. It's like yours, just like put a lot of effort into it, like got the lights and shit. And I've just got this office. But it's it just when they said to see them at that age with that passion and to say they read stuff, but then they teach stuff. Because when you read it, I think you only retain a certain amount. But when you actually implement something you just learned and teach someone else,
Yeah, and you
you'll
learn
actually
it
retain
again.
you have yeah, well, you have like 90% chance of retaining that. So that'd be another aspect that if anyone's listening, just if you read a book, you find it really cool, awesome. Maybe then also highlight some stuff and teach some of those things because then you'll retain it way easier.
Yeah, exactly. And like they say, knowledge is power, but knowledge is only potential power. You got to actually implement it. Then it becomes the power.
Yeah, I only just heard that the other day. It was really cool.
Yeah, because for so many years, people are like, oh, yeah, knowledge is power, knowledge is power. Okay, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're doing nothing with it, what's the point, right?
Exactly. I'm sure you know heaps of guys that like know so much shit and they just keep spitting. And it's like, well, or actually, no, they just know a lot, but they never actually execute.
Mm, yeah, and they think they're just smarter than everyone. It's like, come on, bro, relax.
Yeah, yeah. It's Gary V. His big thing is like you can know, like you just said, you can know everything, but how many people or businesses are always whinging about not getting new customers or whatever, and they don't even have an Instagram. They don't even have the basic foundations of what society is these days, and they're whinging about, oh, I try to do all this content. It's like content and stuff. It's like, do you? Do you ever just get on your camera and record a video of you talking? Like he tells it straight up. There's always excuses for shit. There's always excuses. And I mean, I've been there before. I've been like, oh, I can't think of stuff to post. And Todd will call me out and be like, all right, tell me why. And then you sit there and you're like, I actually have no good excuse. Thanks for pulling me up. I think you need to be called out sometimes.
Yeah,
It's like called out on your shit because sometimes this is the best analogy that I've ever given myself is, and being a football player, you might understand this too. Well, you will. When you're on the field as a footy player, pretty much you can only see the first few guys in front of you. You see the two, three, four people in front of you trying to tackle you. The coach on the sideline can see the whole play.
mm,
So he can see that you may have, maybe if you just ran to the left a bit, offloaded someone on the outside of that guy, we get a try. But when you're on the field and you're in it and you just tunnel vision, you can't see all this other shit. You can't see all these other opportunities. So as soon as I told myself to respond in a way that I'm the coach in my own life, so I take a step back off the field, I look at the context of it, not the content, And I can see so much more now, dude. You know, and I take self-responsibility. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their own shit. You know, it's always blaming someone else. It's always like, I'm sure you've worked with people before. It's like, oh, why didn't that get done? Or why did that happen? They'll be like, oh, because such and such did this. And it's like, nah, dude, I know it was you. I saw you on the camera. Like, just say what you did, own up to your shit, and we'll move on. You know, I think just owning up to your own responsibilities and taking responsibility for your actions or anything that you do, it creates a lot of integrity within yourself too. So, um, what you do, oh, what does Todd say? I'm going to butcher this too. What's that saying where it's like how you do something is how you do everything?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. So how you do something is how you do everything. So even if you're at home by yourself and you're doing something, no one's seeing you, you think, oh, I might just fudge this up or just cut some corners. You then take that into your work or other aspects of your life, right?
Mm. Yeah,
So,
I like that analogy you said about the coach because it's funny. Like we'll talk about footy, you have supporters that will watch you on TV or be at the game in the grandstand, like you should have done that, yelling abuse at you, but we're in it. So it's a great example that we need to take a step back and pretend that we are in the crowd for a moment and have an overview of the whole game plan because sometimes we do get stuck playing the game instead of working on the game.
100%, dude. It's like working in your business and working on your business. It's two very different things.
Mm.
You know, if you never take the time to slow down, take a step back, have a look at everything, you won't see those little holes or those gaps or those opportunities because you're too busy fucking in there, like trying to run straight through these guys when you could just have stepped to the right and offloaded to your boy on the side. Which leads me into another segue where it's like, we need to be able to trust other people to help us with our journeys too. I don't know what you're like with that stuff. Do you find that you're always doing all your own stuff because you don't trust others to help you with your stuff?
Yeah, maybe I just haven't found the right people, or I
Yeah.
feel like I haven't found the right people yet.
Mm, yeah, actually, that's a good point too, because you can't just be saying to anyone you meet, hey, man, can you help me with this? Like, obviously, there's that trust to be built. And yeah, I guess trust is a big thing. Being football players, you know, always having knowing that the guy's got you in his shoulder or out of shoulder, like you can trust them that they're going to make that tackle, whatever it might be. And it's actually, you could actually use a lot of footy analogies for life, hey?
Yeah, like Isaac John says it all the time. Like so much footy stuff translate into business, and it's really interesting.
It's a good point because even just that team aspect, you know, I know I don't miss football. I miss being in that environment where you have these guys that'll die for you on the field. It's like once you lose that, and I talked about this in my potty recently with Scotty Hill, where all these ex-professional football players and stuff, they do find it really hard, man, because your identity is an athlete,
Mm.
and you've got all these men that you're or women. You know, there's obviously a lot of women getting into professional sport now with rugby league and AFL and stuff blowing up, which is sick. But again, men and women can go through the same situation where it's like they lose this identity and then they don't know what the fuck to do after sport. You know, like do you start a business? Do you get into another job? Some people get into jobs and then hate that job and they're like, man, I miss all the footy stuff. I miss the fame, the glory, whatever. So I think that's a big aspect that gets missed out too. You know, it's like I think a lot of mental health issues come from identity, and that's why Todd's subconscious identity system that's coming up soon, it's going to help so much, man. You know, because understanding your subconscious is super important. I don't know if you've read much into it, but dude, even I've got a mirror right next to me, and for months straight, I would literally look myself in the mirror and be like, "I love you." You know, like telling yourself you're the man, you're wealthy, whatever, you're smart, and you just feed your subconscious this stuff because eventually it just embraces it and embodies it, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we are this. And eventually, all that shit stuff you've been telling yourself just sort of fades away because you're overriding it with all this positive affirmations, you'd call it, I suppose. I remember reading a book. I think it was called. Actually, I have no idea what it's called, but they said if your inner voice was your roommate and the way they spoke to you, would you hang out with them? You know, like, what if this guy every day is like, you're a piece of shit, you're useless, you can't do that? Dude, you wouldn't keep that guy around if that was a mate. So why do you let that person keep saying those things to you inside? That's your own voice.
Mm. That's
You
interesting.
know, yeah, not many people think about the subconscious. And I think ever since I started learning about it from Toddy, it's just changed my whole life.
Yeah, it's something I want to learn more about. I feel like because I bought like Joe Dispenza's like all his books, but like
Ooh.
it's so much knowledge. It's hard for me to kind of consume it and process it. So it's like, fuck, I want to learn it, but it's like at the same time, it's just too much for me.
Well, even what you just did then, bro. So you just said it's too much for me.
Ah, there
So
we go.
your subconscious hears that, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes, "Oh, cool, it's too much for me." So then if you say that enough, it's going to be like, "Nah, man, we can't learn this because we've been told that we can't do this." So, and dude, I was doing it for months until Todd. I'd literally be talking at some place, and he'll hear me say, "Yeah, with the technician, I'm just trying to help," and he'll be like, "Ah, what'd you just say?" And he'd be like, "What'd you just say?" I was like, "Oh, trying, shit, my bad." So even if you say trying, like Darren Manser is a kinesiologist, and he got me to hold my arm out, and he's trying to push it down. He goes, "Say try," and I was like, "Try, try, try," and he just pushed me down easy. And then he's like, "Okay, say I can," and I was like, "I can, I can, I can." Couldn't budge me. So it was like the words were hypnotizing my subconscious and allowing me to do and be what I was telling it. But then if you feed it with that negative shit, what do you think happens?
Yeah, positive self-talk is bro, so powerful. It's just doing it and being self-aware to catch yourself out when you're talking negative to yourself, like I kind of just did before.
Oh, dude, it's all good. And that the only reason I said it wasn't to like point you out or anything. It
Nah,
was
it's
more
good,
like
bro.
whoever's listening just sees that and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, he did do that." And then it's like, "Oh, okay, so that's how it works." So, um, and that's I've seen such a big benefit from that from people doing that to me, and again, stripping the ego away. It's like if someone needs to tell me what I'm doing, my coach on the sideline needs to tell me I need to step to the left. Sick. I'm going to get that try. I'm going to start that business. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And it's like when you're in a happy place and you strip the ego away, no one that I think becoming present has been the biggest thing for me. Like uh, meditation, ice baths, breath work. The biggest thing that's happened is I guess my body and my mind and like I don't know, everything about me, dude. I'm just present. Because if you can't be thinking in the future or the past, there's a lot of emotions attached to that. But if I'm present, all I'm focused on is talking to you. So I can't really feel anything, can I? I'm just happy to be talking to someone and having a good conversation. And that's all you focus on.
Yeah, and it's hard, like, because anxiety is the future and depression is the past. That's what I've kind of learned about it all. And
Correct. Yeah.
it is hard to be present at times when you, like, life is hectic a lot of the times and there's a lot of shit going on. And you're like, fuck, how do I be present? And for you, okay, let me ask you, what is a tip to be present? You mentioned meditation, ice baths, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about meditation. How's a easy way to get into it? Because I've tried it and I fall asleep, bro.
Yeah. It takes a while, well, personally for me, everything that I say is personal experience. Obviously, I'll just reiterate that, there's again, no right or wrong. No, you should do this, you should do that. This is just what's worked for me. And the way that meditation worked for me was I started to understand energy better. I started to understand spirituality better because when I could embody everything that it is, I saw meditation in a different light. I saw what it was doing for me. I saw what was possible when I actually meditated, like when I actually was just focusing on my breath. Because when you can slow everything down and you're not thinking about, like you just said, the future or the past, you're not feeling anything other than the present. Like you literally focus on your breath. So everything, all the thoughts and shit that go on in a day, because I know I used to be really bad with that. It'd be like, "Oh, I've got this talk coming up soon. That's public speaking, terrified, whatever." I'm thinking about shit that hasn't even happened yet. So it's causing those emotions and those feelings in my body. But now I just chuck on, there's heaps of stuff on YouTube, bro. I love YouTube Premium. Best 15 bucks I spend per month because I can just lock my phone and you don't have ads or anything. And it's got like, dude, you can get every single book pretty much in audiobook form and listen to it at times two speed. So say it's a 5 hour book and it only takes you 2.5 hours to listen to. So, and you can get to that point too. You can listen to stuff really quick and build rewire your brain to be able to listen to that stuff too. So Jim Quick teaches that.
Yeah.
But yeah, meditation, bro. I would start with little 5-10 minute meditations on YouTube. that for me, that's what worked. There's this one called Higher Self Meditation. And it's got like an eagle or something on the picture. Man, the dude's voice is epic. It's like just a real calming voice. It really, the first time I did it properly, I personally had this experience where oh, it's going to sound weird, but I like had like this white light sort of start coming through my eyes, and they're closed, like, but I could just see this like this white light, and then I sort of shot up into the air, and it was almost like I was looking down on myself. So astral projection. And I know it's just probably some people that are listening to this and like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? And I'm telling you, like I said, 4 or 5 months ago, I would have been like, nah, this is all ridiculous. But because I've learned it. I've learned that spirituality and science are the one. They are the same thing. You start looking into this stuff, you start to understand it. And when you understand something, for me, when I started to understand it, I listen back to some books now or movies, and I hear words and I'm like, holy shit, I get that now. And now I can understand it. So because I can understand it, I can do it better. So meditation, I understand for me, it allows me to have these really cool, they're called intuitive downloads. So it'd be like a business idea. So I kid you not, bro. I had this day where I went into Chemist Warehouse and it was real busy, real loud. And I heard the cash register lady say to her customer, oh, that's weird, $88.88. And because I've been going through months of like seeing angel numbers and all this other stuff, synchronicities, I was like, oh, here we go. So I checked up 8888. And it was like, all the hard work you've done is about to come to fruition. You're about to see abundance in your life with that business idea, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, man, what are you talking about? And then 2 days later, bro, I do a meditation. I kid you not. I have a shower after I have this meditation in the morning, and I come up with tech talks. I come up with my new business that's now like part of my life. That's amazing. And I love it. And I was literally in the shower. It was something I've been working on, trying to figure out how do I implement all these things that I've been trying to do into like a business, something that can bring me in money, energy, and help more people. And it just, yeah, because it allowed me to stop thinking about all this other shit, brought me present, and allowed me to just have this free mind to let something sort of come in. And yeah, that's what I do now, man. If I need to have some sort of breakthrough creatively, or, just think of something new, or think of an idea around a podcast, whatever it might be, usually it's through, some breath work, some meditation. And it only has to be like 10, maybe 5-10 minutes, or in the shower. The shower's sick. I've seen one of my friends, she laminates all her goals and stuff and puts it on the outside of her shower door. So when she's in the shower, she sees all these things, and it just sparks her brain a little bit. And she'll have this massive like download of like, oh, that's what I need to do. And then she comes up with like a new business name or logo or idea or something to help someone. So yeah, dude, in a nutshell, I went off on a big tangent then, but meditation, start really simple. Don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. It's basically something where eventually you can get to a space where you're laying there, you're breathing, you're focusing on your breath. You might hear sounds, hear them, but don't get locked onto them. Just allow them to pass through and then come back to your breath. So I think the biggest thing is to focus on breath. Everything for me, dude, everything that's changed my life has been really understanding how breath works for you and what it can do for you. So that'd be my tip for it, I suppose.
Awesome. Yeah, it's something I need to continue to implement because I tried the meditation and I feel like it didn't work. So then I stopped. It's just another thing that you need to be consistent with.
Yeah, dude. It's like going to the gym. You do enough bench press, you get stronger, like I said at the start. And it is tough, man. It's like anyone doing this, if you do it for 2 days and then you get over it, that's fine. Like it is tough, I understand, but just know that it's one of the best things I've ever implemented into my life, and it's free. Like a lot of the stuff that's changed my life for the better is free. That's the most frustrating part, is that they make us believe that we need all these drugs and purchasing all these things and these programs and all this other stuff. And it's like, man, if you sort out your breathing, your sleeping, and your water, you're already ahead of the game by 70%. Like just sort some of the most basic shit out, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Learn to use your body and like use nature for what it is, bro, and it can help you so much.
Actually, nature's a big one. I see that you get out and about in it a bit, and I'm sure you feel that like how much it can heal you. Like it's important too.
Every day I'm in the bush. I'm lucky, like where I live, I get to do that. Bro, the clarity I get, being present as we've been speaking about, like some of my best ideas have come from being in the bush. And you lose track of time. Like I can go there and it's like, holy fuck, like 3 hours has gone past. And it feels like nothing because you've just been present and you've enjoyed your time. And you, yes, you're kind of in your head, but it's good thoughts and it's so many ideas and bro, I love it. And I
Mm,
actually releasing a podcast on it today because like as an introvert, we need to reset the batteries and charge the batteries. And for me, like a big, you know, thing is nature.
mm,
Like there's nothing better than going on a hike or something by yourself and just recharging the batteries and just trees, fresh air, wildlife. Like there's nothing better to me.
100%, dude. I agree. They know, they know what they're doing. You know, if they get everyone in these cities where there's not much forest around, there's not much like sand or, dude, next time you go, do you ever go barefoot?
Nah.
Dude, go barefoot. I'm telling you, what'll happen, you actually take away the rubber soles or whatever it is, and then you can actually ground. So the earth, you actually feel all that energy will just start coming up through your body. It's like a torus field. So anyone that doesn't know, well, obviously most people won't, but a torus field is like an energy circle that actually goes through, I guess, our planet too, but also through us as humans. As we are energy, uh, when we connect with the ground, it actually allows everything to flow better. And even when you're around trees and stuff, dude, that's where we came from, what we evolved from. And we've been taken away from that shit. So when you go back into it, why do you think people love camping and stuff?
Hmm.
Why do you think it's some of the most relaxing, stress-free times ever? You feel incredible. Then you come back to this bullshit in the city, and straight away you're back to that sympathetic state, back to that anxiety, that scared, oh, I got to do this, got to do that. It's like, man, when you go into nature, you're just with nature, you're just with yourself. You're grounded. Grounding is probably one of the most important things too. Every day, if you can get a bit of sun, like 20 minutes without sunscreen and stuff, obviously you can't be out in the sun all day without sunscreen, but a lot of sunscreens from my experience and what I've learned recently is a lot of them have carcinogenics in them, which are causing a lot of cancers and stuff. Again, I don't want to be quoted on that because I'd hate to think that people listen to that and like, oh, he said this and this. It's like, this is just things that I'm reading. These are things that I've seen and heard. And dude, ever since I started to implement like say 15, 20 minutes of sun just on my body without like sunscreen and stuff, my skin, like I feel just so much better. It just allows me to actually absorb that vitamin D naturally. And our skin's is it the biggest organ in our body? Second biggest organ. Yeah, I think it's the biggest organ in our
Yeah, I
body, or
think so.
second
Yeah.
biggest. It absorbs everything. So imagine every day if you're putting on like sunscreen or moisturizer that have got all these different like ingredients in them that your body's absorbing, which can go to different organs and stuff. So, they told us for years that butter's bad for us, but like good grass-fed butter is one of the best things for you. Ever since I started to eat more meat, like good quality meat, like I feel incredible. My gut health is incredible. So yeah, dude, there's so many things that we've been told are bad for us that, maybe they are, maybe they're not. Who knows? But ever since I've implemented some of these things that I've just talked about, I feel good. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. And it comes down to the individual. Like what works for you may not work for someone else. So it's just about finding what works.
100%, bro. Like you said, nature for you is an everyday thing. It's like it'd say Jakey Stone the other day said he's got some non-negotiables. So would you say your non-negotiables going into nature?
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Mine's have fun.
Yeah,
You know,
mine's bush. Make sure I read every day. Drink 2 liters of water. All those things that if I don't do, I can tell that it has an effect on me, especially if I don't do it for a few days. So I've got to make sure I do it.
I love that. And yeah, if anyone wants to implement some stuff, guys, just call them non-negotiables. Don't say these things where you like have to do them or whatever. It's just like core values you can embody. So my core value, yeah, have fun, be integral, have integrity. So if there's things that I said I'm going to do, I try to. No, I don't try. I make sure that I do them as often as I can. There's going to be things where schedule just doesn't work out. Unfortunately, like I had to cancel my podcast this morning because I had a few other things I need to do and worked out perfectly. It actually worked out better than it could have. And sure enough, today is, as I'm reading here, 11/11/2021. So today is actually a massive day, bro. I don't know if you realize this, but if you're going to come up with any new ideas for your podcast or whatever it might be, today is the day to do it because we're about to step into some serious shit after this. Good shit.
Fuck. I'm keen.
Feel that one.
Fuck. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dude, where are you looking to take the whole podcast, tech talks, the events and stuff that you're doing? What's your big goal? Or are you just going with the flow at the moment?
Good question. I'd like to think the podcast, my intention. So, my intention before coming on this podcast was helping you have one of the best podcasts you've ever had. That was just my intention. It's what Darren said to me. His podcast was the most shared one I've ever done. So it's like everything you do it with intention. So my intention for the Technician podcast is for it to be one of the biggest, most influential ones in the world. I don't see why not. We can have these big goals. You're not a big noter or anything. If you say you've got some big goals, guys, this is just things you can strive for. So I'd love to have the podcast grow. I'm moving to Canada next year with Mrs. She's Canadian, obviously. So we'll move there in May, June, and I'll take that over there. Like I said, I want to have that custom van with the podcast studio in it so I can just go around. I'd love to interview just people, bro, like just people with stories. They don't have to be influencers or famous or anything. I've actually found that some of my best episodes have been from people that people don't even know. Just some, like one of the best ones I've had was my mate from school who no one even really knows as like an influencer, but his outlook on life and his story was incredible. So I'd love to start a series around that and just grow that. The coaching stuff, the tech talk stuff, I'd love to actually create a business where I can have other technicians. I can have multiple technicians doing what I do. Obviously, there'll never be another me, but maybe I can model that around it and have people come into my space and do what I do and give them a whole like just franchise model that they can go and take, and then they go help. Because I'm capped, dude. There's only a certain amount of people I can help. But if I had a heap of these people that I can find and just mold and have in my own light and have my personality, or not my personality, but have my beliefs and everything, cool. They can go out and do what I do on a different sort of level in their own way, and then just make an impact, bro. My biggest thing has always been make a positive impact before I die. And to be on that path right now is really exciting. And I know I've got a long way to go, but I'd like to think in 10 years, I'm an expert in this space. I'm an expert in the holistic space, in the energetic space, in the coaching space. My podcast is doing well, hopefully in the next 5 years, that's all I'm doing for full-time work. Like my job is like Joe Rogan, get paid to do podcasts, right? There's actually a lot of people out there that get paid to do podcasts. It's not as hard as everyone might think. So it's, to think that I think like 6 months into this and about 21 episodes in, and it's doing pretty well now. I think hopefully in the next, 2 years, I'd like to think I'm doing it full time.
Fuck yeah, bro. That's awesome. And I'm keen to follow your journey. I love that you mentioned you want to like, I guess, talk to randoms and stuff, because I had this vision before COVID. I wanted to interview homeless people because I was like, they all have a story, and that'd be so interesting to talk to them and talk about their journey and I guess how they ended up homeless and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that I want to do.
Do it, bro. That'd be sick. Is there a lot of homeless in your area?
No, not in my area, but like 20
Down in
minutes.
Sydney and stuff.
Yeah, Sydney and all that.
That'd be powerful. And it'd give some sort of light into the situation too. Because I talked to the boys on the Passion Project about this, where I'm in two minds about people that, those guys on YouTube and stuff that go out and like give homeless people money and stuff and record it and record their reactions and stuff like that. You can see it in two ways. I see it in, they might be just doing it for attention, some of them, or whatever. They don't really care. They're just trying to get likes, views, whatever. But if I never see those videos, I don't get that little idea, oh man, I should go do that for someone else. Why do we feel bad about so many things? Why are we told to feel bad or not do something? Because it's like, oh, you're just doing that for this, this, and this. And it's like, no, man, like I do plenty of this shit on a daily basis. I help, and I'll say it, like I help multiple people. If I just go to the post office for our little business we've got. We're always posting shit for eBay. I'll always see in that shopping center like older people struggling with their trolleys or their groceries and stuff like that. Instantly, if I see anyone struggling, I'm like, fuck, I'll go help him or her, whoever it is. But you don't go around telling people you're doing that. You just do it because that's just what your natural reaction is. But in saying that, I'd love if I could go around recording us as a ripple effect doing awesome things, because again, it's not for us to get the notoriety and get all the fame and whatever that comes with it or what might come with it. It's just, how about this ripple effect actually makes a change, because people see this and then they think, that's a great idea. I'm going to go buy $200 worth of thongs and hand out. Like my mate Dan that owns that Venture Clothing and the Passion Project podcast, he went to Big W one night and bought like $400 worth of thongs and jumpers and handed it out to a homeless shelter. He didn't tell anyone about that until he did on the podcast, and he felt bad about telling me. He's like, yeah, man, I don't know, like, because he's worried what people think. Oh, you just did that because of this. And it's like, nah, man, he just did it because he's a good dude. He's got a kind heart. So, yeah, if anyone listening, guys, do cool shit for more people. Like it doesn't take much. Sometimes it takes $5 to change someone's life, especially if they've been homeless for a long time now, or they've been through a really rough patch. Even normalize fucking compliments. Normalize telling someone they're beautiful, telling someone you like their hat. I like your hat. Your hat's sick. And you'll probably then feel really good about that for a bit. It's like sick. I love, the best compliments I get is, I had a lady not long ago. I was in the post office and she just turned to me. I was talking to the ladies that I've got the relationship at the post office. There's like two older ladies. And this lady next to me, she goes, I really love your energy. It's like, man, thank you. That was cool. Like to hear that means way more than like, oh, I really like your watch or I really like your shoes. Like that's still cool. Like compliments are cool, but let's normalize being able to talk to normal strangers. Just be like, bro, do you need a hand? Or how are you? Like speaking to anyone needs to be normalized, because I feel like we've become this society that's like scared to talk to strangers in a way too, right?
Yeah. And I love my morning walks because like we have a big like walking community up here. So every morning I walk past people and I'm always saying, good morning, how are you? Stuff like that. And it's such a good feeling. It's like, yes, you're just passing by, but you're having that connection.
100%. And some people get scared of that shit.
Mm. Yeah, you can tell like some people like just put their head down and walk past and it's like, okay, I'll get you one day. I'll get you one day.
Like if you walk around with a smile, it's really hard for other people not to smile back.
Yeah.
It's really hard, man. I heard, again, I'm going to mention him a lot, but dude, get him on your podcast at some point if you can. Darren Manser. He goes, anger knocked at the door, love answered, no one was there. So if you love everyone and love everything, if someone's throwing hate at you and you just like, it's all good, bro. I love you. I understand you, understand where you're coming from. It's fine. Good luck them trying to start an argument or fight you, because they're like, no, fight me, dude. You're just sitting there like, no, come here, give me a hug. Like obviously there's a point where it's like, if someone's attacking you, you're going to defend yourself. But, if you just take any of these like judgments or comments and stuff just with like, it's all good. They're just doing what they can with what they know. They're, I don't know, jealous or hating on me because of this, and this. It's fine. It's all good. Not that you should sit there and just take shit on the regular and just be like, no, it's okay. It's fine. You obviously want to stand up for yourself, but stand up with yourself with integrity and love, and don't escalate it. There's no reason to get into an argument about shit. Just be like, oh, it's cool, man. It's fine. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's move on. And that's where the presence comes in. That's where if you're constantly breathing, meditating, ice baths, like really focusing on the current moment and not worrying about, because if you go into the past and you think about, oh, I've dealt with this sort of stuff before and this is what's happened. So you judge that person, say that tatted up guy that's like starting to get a bit mouthy or whatever, and you just brush him with this, the same paint and think, oh, he's just like that other guy. Nah, he could be a completely different person that's going through completely different things. So let's treat him with a little bit of respect first before we get to that point of judgment where we're like, you're just like that guy. Everyone's different.
That's it. And Gary Vee says it all the time, like have empathy. Because yes, someone may say something in the comments or to you in person. You never know what they're going through. You never know what their day's been like. Just have empathy. Bro, I say kill with kindness. Don't fight back. Just be kind, be nice to them, because it's going to shut them down, and then they may realize what they've said is kind of wrong, and they may apologize, and then you can build a connection off the back of that.
That's a vibe too when you can do that. When you can turn. So I used to love if there was ever like a really hard customer that used to come into Rebel Sport, I would let everyone know in the store, hey, if you ever get a really bad customer, just come get me, and I'll come over. And my mission is to like turn that frown upside down. It's like I'm gonna make them love me. I'm gonna have them feeling incredible once they leave. And there's only ever been a few people that are, and I get it because not everyone can be positive all the time or whatever. There is such a thing as toxic positivity for sure. We can't always, and I'm not always happy, fucking go lucky. Like this, life is tough, and that's okay. But again, man, we circle back to that circle of control. I just stick back to that. I'm like, man, okay, today's tough. I really don't feel like doing anything. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to just relax, game a bit, spend some time with Tams, my missus, just enjoy life. And that's fine. You're allowed to do that. You don't have to always be doing shit either. But, like Nick just said, it's like you can kill people with kindness. If they're trying to come at you, imagine trying to make an argument with a wall. If they're sitting there trying to yell at you and you just stand there like, okay, cool, sweet, okay, yep, sweet, brother, all good. Eventually they're just going to give up and just be like, fuck, who are you? What's your problem? And then you start chatting and it's like all of a sudden you're hugging at the end of it, like it's like, man, it's all good. I understand. I'm here for you. So yeah, that's a cool space to be in too.
Exactly, dude. And as we start to wrap up this podcast, bro, hour and 40 minutes. This has been a good fucking chat, dude. Yeah.
Gee, that flowed hard, eh?
Joe Rogan style. Let's go. Dude, this has been good, bro. But as we start to wrap up, man, a few last questions. What does having a better life mean to you?
A better life for me is freedom. Everything for me is freedom, bro. Like time is for me the most valuable thing. I've got a new relationship with money. I appreciate money now. I don't hate it or see it as evil, but I just know that money will give me the freedom too. So, for me, freedom is the key, but whatever needs to get me to that point, then I embrace it. It's a better life is more freedom, more time to spend with my friends and family and the people I love.
Awesome. You probably have a similar response to this next one, but how do you define success?
Actually, it's a quote from Earl Nightingale, The Stranger's Secret. And it's a realization of a worthy goal. I think that's how it goes. I always butcher it, but basically it's when you realize what your purpose is and you're on that track. So for me right now, I'm on my journey. I'm on my hero's journey. I've been through my shit. I've found my purpose and my path. And now I'm on my success. I'm not, the money is important because it's going to help me grow the podcast. It's going to help me purchase the things I need, like, bits of technology or apps and software and stuff like that, or start these events, have the equipment to make the events better for the ripple effect. But bro, I think for success, I define it as if you're on your purpose. It's not the money you're making. It's not the car you own, the house you own, whatever it is. If you're doing the shit you love, you're successful.
That's it, bro. And Trav, when your time's all up and done in this earth, what would you like to be remembered for?
Creating that ripple effect that changes the world for the positive. It's like leaving that impact that it's just, love everyone and love everything, bro. If we can teach people to do that and be that and embody that, I'd die a happy man for sure.
Dude, this chat has been powerful, man. Thank you. Like, I'm super grateful that we've connected now.
100%, dude. That was great. I love that. You're very present. You're able to just sit there, take it in, listen, ask the right questions. Really enjoyed this, bro. You're a very, very good interviewer.
Thanks, bro. I think it's an introvert thing where we just listen.
Yeah. I almost got to a point where I was like, I feel like I need to ask him some questions, because you get so used to like asking the questions and you feel bad talking too long.
But yeah, man.
It's weird, man.
For all the listeners though, where is the best place to find you on social media?
Yeah, just if they search up The Technician or Travis Cochran on Instagram, same with Facebook. I'm usually pretty good with Facebook. I know it's a bit more like personal, but I'm easy either way. YouTube I'll clean up a bit soon. I got to get back into that and posting videos on there for the technician stuff too. But yeah, Instagram's my go-to, bro.
Awesome. I'll put all your links in the bio anyway. But yeah, thanks once again, dude, for all the listeners. If you got some value from this, I know you would because I sure did. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Check out Trav, check out everything he's doing, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.
Thanks, brother.